Hi, I wanted to come to you guys with the presentation that we talked about and just show you the conceptualization thus far. In order to do this, I really spent some time reflecting on the conversations that we've had up to this point, which have been many. Way to go, us. Feels like it's been a month, but it's only been a week. But I wanted to condense and make concise as much as possible. No matter which way we address it, there's a lot of information. The team's going to hear a lot up front, but then it feels like it will kind of slowly roll out after that. And so a lot of announcements and then slowly rolling out after that. And so there is a lot of information here, but I tried to condense it as much as possible. So first and foremost, reminding the team in order to help our others, we have to help ourselves to put on our oxygen masks first, focusing on our team and their self-care. And then helping our team understand that families are adjusting. This is a new way of life for everyone. We need to support and empower them through this. And sometimes that means we simply need to give them some space and some time. We need to meet our families where they are at this time and go back to those basic counseling skills as they can apply virtually, because we can still apply them. So based on our conversations over the week and the idea of going virtual possibly for more than 2 weeks, I put together a one-pager of information for the team. Now, disclaimer, this looks like a lot of information, but it is a one-stop shop of a framework for what the team could refer to as they're trying to do their jobs moving forward. So, all right, got it up. Okay, so this is the one pager. The purpose of this document is to provide a framework of basic activities. We know that some of our counselors are going to be able to work 7 hours a day. Others are going to be able to work 1 or 2 hours a day. It just depends on their family situation and what's going on at home. So focusing on just the basic day-to-day activities, but also helping them remember that at this time, we really just need to get through the year. And so our team focus to plan for 2020, 2021 and make our programming as best as possible. And to get our team at central office back into focusing on what needs to be taken care of to wrap up the year and how to plan for 2020, 2021. Say that fast. So the Texas model components are there just to make it a little more formalized so they can see and how to break down the components of a comprehensive program and what that looks like virtually. But those are just there for reference, that we have 4 areas of the Texas model that we typically address that are covered for us in ethical codes, and then the definition there. The next portion, the green portion, is components that we've discussed about how to cover each of those domains or components of the Texas model. And so we've talked about with guidance instruction using Rethink Ed to align with the Essential 8 and creating one developmentally aligned topic per week. And so then coming down into the blue section is where the counselor could use as a reference. What is it that, if they have time, what is it that they can be doing? Well, we talked about dividing into district zone teams to develop these weekly lessons by developmental level. And this sounds like something that will be very doable for everyone, and that if they wanted to supplement, they can, and we can give them, that freedom and opportunity to do that if they have the time. But this covers everyone if they don't have time to develop their own lessons. And so week 1, we might choose a topic from the Essential 8, such as optimistic thinking. And then the Texas model outlines the program curriculum sequence. So it has a scope and sequence of student goals for us, divided by developmental stage. And so if we divide into developmental teams, we give them that divided scope and sequence, and they take the goals and align it with the Rethink Ed curriculum, and bam, they've got a lesson plan. And so that's super easy, and they could do that for each week. And then the guidelines for providing virtual guidance, this purple area is where we can link in resources as that one-stop shop for counselors to go and say, okay, so I want to do some supplemental online guidance. How do I do that? Or what does that need to look like? What do I need to keep in mind? We could link that in here. Again, this is something other districts might be developing that we could beg them to share, so we don't have to come up with our own and not, put a lot of extra work on our team. Coming up to individual planning, we talked about doing individual planning and responsive services through scheduling, through email, Google Voice, or Calendly, sessions through Zoom or Google Meet as they are comfortable, and then making sure we're keeping things solution focused and brief. So with individual planning, this one kind of, there might be more, there might be less, but things that we've talked about is course planning, continuing that to get that done, graduation planning, continuing to get those components done, transcript evaluations and things like that, post-secondary planning through Naviance and FAFSA, making sure college applications are continuing and scholarships, entry and withdrawal processes, doing this virtually and connecting with students. And then over here on responsive services, we've really focused on providing individual solution-focused brief therapeutic interventions and to at-risk students or students that we've already identified or will identify as in need. And letting them kind of choose what they're comfortable with. If they need to do this through Zoom and Calendly because they feel comfortable with that level of technology virtually, awesome. If they want to continue to go through email or using Google Voice as an option to make phone calls, they can do that. Small group counseling virtually through phone, email, or Zoom. And then to use the Denton ISD virtual group counseling permission form. We could have our team come up with a permission form as the central office team. We could edit that form and then produce it back out. So we could have somebody that's willing or people that are working to do that for us. Follow the guidelines for virtual suicide assessment. And we talked about keeping this pretty short. Call the parent, call for a wellness check, call the police. Pretty short checklist there. And then maintaining the proper referrals. We talked about getting the telehealth resources together for mental health. And so then we could link all of those sources down here where it's a one-stop shop. Oh, I can go in here and grab that document if I need it. Then coming up and talking about system support, which is a lot of what people that can't do the virtual responsive services because they have kids at home or whatever it is, this is something maybe they can do. Consultation, continuing collaboration, and program management and planning for 2020, 2021. I'll get that right. And then consulting with their stakeholders, reminding what are the actions that they're taking here, reminding that they are available, letting parents and teachers know that they're there for that consultation, and collaborating with the principals to remain as connected as possible. No mass communication without principal approval. And then down here, LinkedIn, the suggested technology for virtual counseling. So it's a one-stop shop. It looks overwhelming, but once you start walking through it, it's really our counselors would focus here, but they need to know that we as a district are focused here and that we are fulfilling each of our rolled components, the components of our role as covered by the mandates. At this time as well, just reminding them that we just need to get through the year too. Ethical considerations, just going over it very quickly that, bam, we are covered to do our jobs virtually. Based on ASCA and the governor's office, we're good. Resources for virtual best practices, we can put it here as well. And this is all in the bottom in the purple area of the one-stop shop one-pager. That's the best word I could come up with. So borrow this from other districts as much as possible. Other districts are coming up with these same things, so we can borrow and adapt as much as possible and not give ourselves a whole bunch of work there. This is the slide that we could use to remind for certain specific things we don't want to put on that one pager, like always use the virtual confidentiality statement, always refer back to the district website. Parental consent is not necessary to do our jobs. We just can send out a parent letter as a just here you go for information purposes if we want. No mass communication unless principal approves. If you can, have your office phone number forwarded to your cell phone. Block your phone with *67 or use Google Voice for calling. If there's anything else we want to add or take off or change, we can do that. Most importantly, reminding our team, to spread calm, healing, and gratitude. That gratitude doesn't change what we have in front of us, but it changes the way we see it. That as long as we are remaining calm and centered, others may feel that around us, and that can have that systemic approach still. And then vital resources for virtual comprehensive school counseling. If we have people that want this, as far as what is ASCA saying, what are the laws saying, unique rewards and challenges for virtual school counseling. If anybody really gets into it, it's all there if they need it. So this is the conceptualization so far. As a presentation to the counseling team, it would be pretty short for all of that information. I mean, that was a ton of information. Just trying to condense it down into something that's digestible and feels doable for everyone. And so let me know what you think. Let's make adjustments and see how to move forward. And I'm excited to start communicating out to the team how we as a district are going to be better together and moving forward in this.